Welcome everybody to the Magic Beans podcast. We are finally back for episode number 156. I'm your host tonight, and my name is Shorty, and I have two beans on the line with me. Tonight we have Chewy. How's it going, mate?
Stoked to be back, mate. Stoked to be back. How are you?
Very good. And we also have Cracker. How's it going, mate?
Very well, thank you, buddy.
Good to hear. So it's been quite a while since we did a podcast, and I think I miss the last two podcasts of the year or something like that as well.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. That's right. I came down with COVID or something, and
new podcast. Who dis?
New host. Who dis?
Yeah, I think it's been the 15th of December was the last episode we released, so over a month since we've released the podcast, which is the first time we've ever had such a long break. I think we all probably needed it. It was an extremely busy year last year, and then sort of heading into the Christmas period and New Year's, and people just being on holidays and all that sort of stuff. It was a good time to have a break, but we're back, and that's pretty exciting. So I hope that our listeners are glad that we're back.
Hope they remember us.
They're thrilled.
We're going to see a little notification of, there's a new Magic Beans podcast, and go, that's that stupid podcast that I used to listen to last year.
I thought I unsubscribed already. No.
If you're listening to this, we appreciate it. Hope you had a great holiday period, and we missed you listening. So we're stoked to be back.
How does that work? We missed them listening.
We missed their ears.
I miss the little graph showing how many people in what country downloaded. So if you're listening to us outside of Australia, I literally look at least once a month and see that, we're being listened to in Norway, right? So that one person in Norway, you're a legend, right? So I appreciate it. So stoked that you listen. So yeah, I miss the people that listen. I think that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
I remember when we first started, and you would look on the thing and it would show you that map, and it was there's people from all these random places around the world watching or listening, and then it was they're probably just people using VPNs. And
probably,
local people from Melbourne or whatever.
Yeah, it's my neighbour. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, we are back, and we will be continuing the podcast despite Chewy putting a little thing on Discord of maybe it might be the end of the podcast, but no, we are.
You got to create drama, mate.
Yeah, create that little bit of hype and the suspense.
I watched a YouTube video on how to get big on the internet, and they said, you got to create controversy, and
it's all about the clickbait.
Did it have 11 views or?
I didn't check, to be honest. It's had at least one now, okay?
That's good. All right. Got him.
Yeah. How to get popular on the internet with 11 views, yeah.
There was something about, burning reserve list cards or something, I don't know, but yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Polymorph
won't let me in his house anymore. Yeah.
Yes. We are back, and tonight we're gonna go through a little bit of what the plan for us is for this year. We did have a Beans meeting this week, which did include Stu. He didn't make it for the podcast. Actually, I don't think any of us even checked if he was recording tonight.
No, he's asleep on the couch.
Sorry, Stu. But Stu and Chris were both there as well, so had a good Beans meeting over at my place, and did the tried to break my air conditioner, which I think we probably succeeded in, and outside for a while until it started belting down rain, and then back inside again where it was all hot and humid again. It was an interesting night, but
it was just
good to catch up with everyone. Yes, very, very, very moist, and we sort of discussed what we're planning on doing this year and how things are going to look and all that sort of stuff. So we're going to get into a little bit of that tonight, and then we'll see how we go. For time, we may look at some. What's it called? Phyrexia? It's not new Phyrexia. Phyrexia all will be one. Yep, something like that. Preview cards. So we'll see how we go. But before we get into that, I guess the first thing that we can talk about for this year is we have a sponsor.
We do. They're
Cracker.
back.
Who is it?
Josh and Pat's, man.
Oh, goodness me.
Apparently they
They
still like us somehow. No, we love Pat. And he's great. And their website or the Facebook page that they run with nightly auctions and listings to win it now are awesome. That is the place to go, particularly with new sets coming up. Like EV is bad in buying boxes unless you're buying collector booster boxes, and ain't nobody got the funds for that. So if you want cards that you can see being previewed at the moment, Pat goes ham on new sets, and there will be listings all the time. So a really good place to pick up the singles as the set comes out. So go check them out, JP MTG Bazaar. And when you win something, let them know that the Bean sent you.
Actually, one thing I don't know that we've really spoken about with what Pat does on Facebook is when there is new sets coming out, he does claim lots. So he gets all his product early, I guess, or within a week or whatever before he's actually allowed to start selling it, or stores are allowed to sell it or whatever. Cracks all these packs and then goes, okay, well, I've got X amount of these rares and X amount of this and whatever, and he puts up claim lots, and so it's just a listing of or he had like all the mythics, all the rares, all the like really good uncommons, and then like all the like old printings and that sort of stuff. And he just puts them up with a price and says there's 20 of this card available or 15 of this card available, whatever. And you just comment under there with how many you want, and you can just keep doing that until he runs out of that stock. And you just pick them up at that price. So I actually picked up a bunch of stuff off the Dominaria Remastered claim lots that he did recently, which is pretty cool. But the other good thing that's fantastic about Pat, and you're not going to get this from everywhere, is if often when he first lists those claim lots, the prices haven't changed, on reprints and things like that, and then he'll post it up and say like this card is $10, and then within a couple of days before the claim lot ends, that price has come right down with more supply being in the market and all that sort of thing. So Pat will actually go through and drop those prices and honor the new price, even if you've already said like if that card was $10 and you said yep, I'll have 4, and he drops it to $8, he'll only charge you the $8 per card for it. So very cool, like very honest and open of Pat to do that sort of thing. And just another way that he's looking after the Magic community, and awesome to have him back on as our sponsor for 2023. So keep an eye out for the usual logos on all our different things and ad reads at the start of the episode. Well, not really ad reads because we've got nothing in our show notes to read from. So
no, we just wing it every time. Can you tell people, or do you think they can't tell?
Behind the curtains, we're not meant to tell people that sort of stuff. Yeah,
we put a copy of the show notes every week on the Patreon. No.
People would be really disappointed if they paid for a Patreon for us and they got our show notes.
It's got 17 words.
Dot points.
I think we'd have to pay people to read them.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So, we did have a month off. Most of us sort of got away over Christmas down to like our caravan park that we sort of tend to hang out at over Christmas down sort of Torquay Way, which is nice. We didn't actually get to play all that much Magic. I played some Modern against Chris for a little bit, and
I played 3 games of Commander, 2 of which were shared with Cracker because we both had to go at various points and we took over each other's decks.
That's all right.
Yeah, I think I played 2 or 3 solo games of Commander as well, but it was a lot of fun.
Okay, nice. Did we get up to anything else exciting over Christmas? Nope. Take the silence as no one did.
No, I mean, just it's a nice time to spend with your family, right? And that's kind of what we all do. It's just
first Christmas in our new house as well. So spend some time at home, which is good. So
plenty of time in the new pool.
Yeah, the pool's gotten to work out, which is great. Although it's gone from 36 to 16 overnight, basically. But that's how
good old Melbourne
down here. Yep. But it's cold, and Dominaria United drafts are back on Arena, so I've just been jamming a bunch of those. So that format is all time. So if you missed out on that, I recommend jumping in and converting some of that gold to gems. You get to draft a really good blue-red spells deck. It's great.
I basically have not touched Arena for the last month, so I probably should get back onto that, seeing as we are now podcasting again.
Got to get your weekly
maybe
streams.
A stream next week, so probably should do the last 3 updates of Arena and get that all sorted before then.
I'll tell you what I have been doing, though. is I've had a bit of a Commander Brewing hat on. So I posted, I saw the new Elish Norn was previewed. I went, I should build the old Elish Norn for whatever reason. I went, what's something completely different to what I've done before? So I built a mono white tokens deck, and it was a lot of fun. I proxied it up, and that was what I played when we hung out, and it did pretty well. Elish Norn is a real card. The original one, very, very powerful. So that was a lot of fun. And then I was scrolling through Pat's auctions about a week ago, and I saw Sneak Attack, and I was like, oh, now that's a fun card. And I always love it in Cube when we play Vintage Cube. And I was like, all right, I'm going to start building a deck with that as the starting point rather than like a commander. And just went with Sneak Attack and Through the Breach and kind of worked my way through there. So I'll probably put a deck list up in the Commander channel at some point and get some feedback and stuff. But it's like Naya giant attack creatures. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been really cool to just like brew again. It's been a long time since I've done that.
Get that creativity.
Yeah, it's just exactly. And you just you think of random cards, or you go looking for an effect and stuff. You're like, oh, how can I do this? And then how do I get multiple versions of that effect and stuff? It's been really cool. A lot of fun.
It was a fair bit of theory crafting going on
there really was
Tuesday night at my place. Yeah, you guys are talking about this card and that card, and I'm just sitting there with my phone on Scryfall just looking up these cards. I don't know what any of these cards are that you're talking about.
I tell you what, the creativity that comes out of the Magic Beans Discord is indomitable. It's
oh snap! There's my soundboard. We're back into it already.
Welcome back. Thank you, Norwegian listener. We appreciate your time and.
Thanks to Pat, I now own 4 Indomitable Creativities. So
nice. There you go.
Be dusting those off again for the next Pioneer event, I reckon. Be a lot of fun. Maybe even some Modern. Play some Creativity in Modern. It's a very, very strong deck.
Very good in Modern.
Yep. All right. So, we're going to have a bit of a chat about some of the things we spoke about when we caught up this week and sort of what our plans are and that for the year. We like to, I think we've done the same thing the last couple of years. We like to sort of have that first podcast be a bit of an outline of what you guys and girls and people out there can expect from the Beans for this year. So, we're going to get into a bit of that and see how we go. So, Chewy, take it away.
Yeah, so we will basically... we're going to change things up a little bit this year. We're still going to do our tournament series. Obviously, you're listening. We're still going to do podcasts, but we want to play more paper Magic. Like we want to get out to events and stores and the big events, and we've got one coming up in a couple of months. The Super Series stuff, and we just want to shuffle up and battle a little more. And we've got finite time, so we're going to rejig things around a little bit so we have the opportunity to do that. So what that means realistically is we're going to go back to our roots, and we're going to go back to a fortnightly schedule for our podcasts. So, there was often some slow news weeks and we were kind of doing evergreen episodes and sort of filling some things in. But so what we're going to do is, less frequency, but hopefully, more pertinent and high quality stuff and getting out to stores. So we'll be talking about, what events we've got coming up and what format it is and the decks we're going to play. And then, we'll go and play that event. And then the next podcast, we'll come around and report back on how we go. So, if you're interested in a particular format or a particular deck, then, there'll be something there for you, which, it's going to be really, really fun. And that's kind of, that is how we started out like 3 years ago. And it was fun to do, and it was exciting to, have that event to look forward to. And yet last year was just so big that, the casualty of that was us getting to, even a pre-release, all of our Magic time was pretty much spent in content creation, and we love playing Magic and we love getting to events and stores, so that's what we're going to do. So looking forward to that. I want to do some more paper streams. They were really fun, and we invested and refined somewhat the setup as well. So that might mean some, at the office with the big fancy camera, or And more regularly, what that will mean is just some Commander streams via webcam, where we'll get some people from the community in and things and just battle and, spell table it and then stream it out as well and get involved that way. So if you're you want to play some Commander with the Beans or against the Beans, you want to crush Cracker's Elesh Norn deck or make me sad by casting Farewell against my enchantments deck or playing Massacre Worm after I've played Sylvan Awakening because I needed to turn on my Growing Rights of Itlamok because I was mana screwed and then losing all my lands. Thanks, Cracker. If you want to see those sort of Commander shenanigans, then it's the opportunity to see that and also be involved as well. Cracker and I have been talking about some more YouTube stuff, which is pretty cool. Yeah, we've got some separate ideas, so our YouTube channel will see some more regular content up there as well for you to enjoy, as well as posting our downloads of our Twitch streams on there as we do as well. So, and then all of that will be some changes to our tournament series as well, which we'll get into. But on any of those points, gentlemen, fortnightly casts, getting to play more in-store Magic, paper streams, YouTube. Anything else to add on that from you, Cracker?
No, I think that covers it, right? Like we started off, like you said, by playing a lot of paper and just talking about it. And then as things shifted and Arena got introduced and the pandemic happened, we kind of just rolled with it and it grew a lot, which was amazing. But yeah, we kind of want to get back into playing paper now that that's a thing that is more, feasible. But
absolutely,
if we make some adjustments. So yeah, that's 100% kind of on board with everything you said. I started a Commander video last night. I dusted off the editing tool and had forgotten absolutely everything I did leading up to the Invies. So I had to start looking at all that again. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing some more in that space. I think that'll be a lot of fun this year for sure.
Awesome. And the in-store or at the event stuff, Shorty. So like we went to Sydney towards the end of last year and we just smashed out however many games of Magic that we played, but also we got to hang out with people from the Beans community in person, like actually interact with them and spend some time with them as well. So and I get the feeling you're looking forward to a bit more of that as much as the rest of us are.
Yeah, definitely. It's, as I was saying the other night when we were all together, that Sydney really highlighted for me how much I've missed playing physical Magic. You guys are way more into Commander than I am, and you tend to play that a lot more. Like when we're together at the caravan park and things like that, you guys tend to play way more Commander than I do. I'm not super into that. So we just haven't played tournaments. I think we'd played like 2 events last year before Sydney, and that was kind of it, and they were sort of small things. So hadn't really had that competitive itch scratched and didn't really realise that I was missing that until we went to Sydney. And then it was the coming up with the deck list and filling out the deck list and then going to the event, registering, like all of that, and then getting your round one opponent, that excitement of sitting down and it's like, oh, okay, now I actually get to play and I've got to remember like the board state and triggers and all those sorts of things. And it just really, it was just really fun. And meeting people and having an actual opponent there and talking to them and talking about the podcast and all that sort of stuff. That whole weekend just massively highlighted to me how much I've missed that. And I'm not a super social person. Like Chewy, you are way more social than I am. Every Magic thing we go to, you know everyone's names and whatever. And I'll recognise people that I know. That's not... Like, I enjoy that sort of stuff, and it's nice meeting people and whatever, but that combination of being able to compete and, test myself and being able to interact, in a small way with actual people is just something that I miss massively. And, we sort of spoke about it this week that if, the reason we haven't had the time to go and do more of that is because we just put so much time and effort into what we did for our community and the tournament series and all that sort of stuff last year. So if we want to, like you said, time is a commodity that we don't have much of. If we want to be able to do that sort of stuff, then we need to find a balance there and sort of get back to our roots. Because I remember when we first started, it was all right. We've got a modern event coming up, so we'd be talking about modern and we
were a modern podcast.
We talked about modern a lot. Yeah, but we would go and play a modern event and then talk about the decks and all those sorts of things, and we actually had experience. And for the last year, it's been we'll talk about the modern format, and we're just talking about deck lists that we've never played and never seen played, and it's a theory
crafting rather than practical experience, and that's what we want to do. Exactly. That makes us a better content for you to consume, right? Because it's a lived experience rather than
100%
our thoughts. So
because we're not pro players, so we can't just look at a deck list and go, yep, I know how this deck list plays out. I know how I can look at 2 different deck lists and go, I know how this matchup is going to work because I'm a crazy magic genius. That's none of us. So we need to actually play the games and then go, right, now I understand how this deck works. And
mostly I just look at deck lists and go, what is that card doing in here?
Why is that
just
there?
Don't. What are those idiots doing? And they're not the idiots, mate. I got to tell you.
Yeah. But it's the practical experience is an important one. I was totally the kid that needed, if my mum said, "Don't touch that pot, it's hot," I'd have to touch it. So I have to make the mistake to learn the lesson. So definitely. So that's a bit of a change to an approach, and it's actually getting back to what our original goals were and what our original drive was for doing this thing in the first place, right? So, we wanted to play Magic and then we wanted to get together and talk about it. The talking about it overtook the playing of it in 2022. So, we want to tip the scales back in the other direction, and that should mean some more informative and on topic content, albeit less frequently. So less frequently from a podcast perspective, but if I'm not going to an event, I'll be doing some other things around like YouTube and things like that throughout the year as well, putting that effort back into that time that I'm not doing the podcast into some other stuff, which is cool. And that might just be hanging out on a Discord channel to see if anybody wants to, have a game of Modern against me or something. So a bit more community engagement as well, obviously through getting out into the stores and stuff. So particularly those around Melbourne, will be the ones with the Magic Beans t-shirts come up and say g'day.
Yeah, definitely. And I will still be streaming Monday nights. That's something, it almost hits that same thing as playing in person with people, because often my Monday night streams are pretty casual and there's a lot of interaction with the chat, and I'll often take on challenges from people in chat and things like that. And so you don't have the person sitting in front of you, but you can talk about your match and have a bit of banter in chat and all that sort of thing. So that's something that I've really enjoyed and will continue to do. So keep an eye out for a Monday night stream next week, and I'll be continuing to do that throughout the year. I don't know how much YouTube content I'll do. That's not really my thing, but hopefully, you guys can pump out a bit more of that and people will enjoy it.
It's not going to be like a YouTube video a week. It's going to be, as they come up. And with the stream as well, I've invested in my stream here and hopefully sorted out my internet issues. So I haven't blocked in a particular day or a schedule, but I will be jumping on the stream as well. So Shorty will do the regular Monday night ones, and then I'll do a supplementary stream as the opportunity comes up, and it'll probably be limited or particularly when it's cube season and things like that. So it'll be a bit more sporadic, but it'll be highlighting the what's kind of happening. So so looking forward to that.
Cool. So, that's, I guess, part of the plan. And Chewy, you mentioned that we are continuing the tournament series. That's something that when we all got together and spoke this week, it was, we knew that something needed to change and something needed to give, but we didn't want to, just can everything. We feel like we've built an awesome community. We built a bunch of really cool people that really enjoy our tournament series. We really enjoy watching the tournament series play out, and then, crowning a winner at the end of the year and that sort of thing. So we are 100% continuing that, but we are changing up the structure, I guess, to sort of reduce the amount of work that is required to actually run such a big thing. So, Cracker, you're going to take us through what we're actually going to run this year.
I will. And maybe just quickly on that, like we did the maths, and it was basically like 10 weekends or 10 Saturdays in 2022 that were taken up by streaming or the tournament series. So that's a lot.
Especially when you factor in, if for Shorty, the entire week leading up to it, and for the rest of us, large portions of that week as well. So that's like we're talking 10 weeks a year. Yeah, I wish I had 10 weeks holidays a year, right? But that's awesome.
My daughter's had 10 weeks holidays just between the end of school and start again, man.
If only we were all school teachers, that would have been good.
Yeah.
All right. So what that means is we're changing the structure. So we are going to do 3 leagues, really coordinating with the set releases. So the first one will be starting on Monday the 13th of February, and the kickoff will always be a week after the set has released. That will be the aim. So we don't know exactly when the next 2 will be, because Wizards hasn't given dates for those, but it'll be a week after they are on Arena. And then from that we will have an Envy, which will effectively be sort of coinciding with the 4th set release towards the end of the year. So it will be earlier. That was one of the challenges we ran into this year, was just it was like halfway through December, basically. It felt like, and
peak Christmas busy period.
It was chaos. So we are trimming the total number of leagues. We are also going to change up the way that the leagues run. So they will be single groups instead of multiple groups like we've done for the last little while. And you'll play everyone once, and then from there we will cut to the top 8. So there will be a group stage run for 5 weeks. The top 8s will be single elimination. And at this stage, we're not planning on streaming in the finals for the group for the leagues. We will be for the Envy. We'll definitely still do the Envy stream. But it won't be a large event that's run on a single day where we stream it. So if there is an opportunity for us to stream some of it, or if people want to put it in Discord and kind of follow along, that would be amazing. We'd be happy to kind of do that, but we're not going to commit to that happening from us at this stage. So the winners of each of the leagues will auto-qualify to the Envy, as we've done previously, and then there will be points all the way down to 16th for each of the 3 leagues, and then participation points as well. So we are also dropping the 1-day events as part of the tournament series. Likely will still happen. We're happy to run up challenge and get things underway. We're happy to kind of do that, but it won't be something that counts towards the end of year prizes. And we may do some other ad hoc events. We don't know what all of the formats will be for the leagues this year. The first one will be standard, though. Is that correct, Shorty?
Yeah. We may change them as we go, depending on
we made
how
an Explorer
format is,
one or
whatever.
something like that. Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, this set looks like it's changing up standard a lot. So
yes.
Has it though? Are all the cards just worse than Sheoldred? So you just play Sheoldred instead of the new cards? Anyway,
we will get into that. Look, we have a points breakdown, but basically, we'll put up all the details on this. But first we'll get 12 points plus the Envy invite. Second we'll get 10. Third through 4th we'll get 8. 5th through 8 we'll get 6. 9 to 12 we'll get 4. 13 to 16 will get 2. And everyone else will get 1. So it will be different in terms of how it's being managed. The people who play more matches will end up, assuming they win, at the top. So, it's kind of going to be a shift in terms of how the league plays out and who we're going to see in the top tables, but it will kind of reward consistency, and that was important to us. We looked at a whole bunch of different structures, and we spent a lot of our time trying to work out how we could do this and make it fair, and so that it wasn't just like the same 3 people that were going to qualify all the time, but there also needs to be some rewards for being consistent and doing really well. But we also like the fact that you can just pull an insanity roll up, spike your first league and queue for the envy, right? So we want to make sure that that's still there for people to do as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, I think a couple of things that people might have some questions on that is, so you said the group stage will run for 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Single group, round robin, everyone plays everyone once. So our leagues for most of last year were between 40 and 50 people.
Mm-hmm.
So effectively you have 5 weeks to play, 40 to 50 matches if you're going to play everybody once. And that's unlikely that anyone's going to be able to do that. And we get that. That's completely fine. And that's sort of what we had to sort of weigh up and work out with our structures. But like Cracker was saying, what we want to be doing is rewarding the people who are active and trying to play their matches and getting their matches done. So if you're, we always get, let's say we get 48 people that sign up for a league, there's always a few people that don't show up, or they play one match and then they're too hard to get a hold of and whatever. So those people they're not going to play enough matches to be anywhere near the top. Whereas the people who are there all the time and always getting their matches done, whatever, they might only get 15 matches played, maybe 20 or something like that, but they're going to be, towards the top of the table and making to the top 8 and all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of what we've tried to do with this structure is put the onus back on the players to get their matches done, rather than us chasing our groups to, can you play your match? Have you guys been talking? All that sort of stuff. It's on you. If you want to get your matches done so that you end up with more points, so you end up in top 8, well, then that's on you to chase down people and try and get it done. And by having everybody in one group, it's just one big open chat, like our tournament series chat, rather than one thing that I found, I didn't actually talk about this with you guys earlier in the week, but when we went to especially 8 groups and you've only got like 5 or 6 people in each group, the chatter is just in that group and it's only with those people. There's not a wider tournament series chat really going on. So by getting everybody back into one group, it kind of increases the chances that people are going to be talking all the time and getting hyped about it and excited and, talking about their bad beat stories and all that sort of thing. And, seeing, these people just played their match. Oh, I'll jump on and see if one of them wants to play me next and so on. So it'll also give more opportunities for, like me, doing my weekly stream on a Monday. There's going to be more opponents that I can play my match against. So yeah, while the league is running, I'm playing Monday night. If any of the 40 people that are in the league want to play me, just hit me up and we'll get our match done. So generate a little bit more excitement, that sort of thing. So that should be pretty cool.
I think another benefit of this structure is, you mentioned, we had like up to 8 groups, and that was about having the right number for the finals for, the tournament software to work. But if you had 8 groups and they had 5 people each in them, if you had 2 people in that group that, you couldn't get a hold of and didn't play their matches, or played a couple of their matches but couldn't play the last couple, that really impacted the people in that group, and it messed up tiebreakers, and it meant that we had to like constantly work things out on how to have a fair and equitable event, where now if somebody doesn't show up, it affects everybody equally in the whole event, and just means that they just don't have matches played. So it's because it's a bigger pool. Somebody going missing has less of an impact on the overall group. Having 2% of people drop out, having 1 person out of 50 drop out versus 1 person out of 5 drop out, it's obviously less of an impact, and it's fairer and more even for the whole group. So, as well as just being easier to manage.
Yeah, and we also acknowledge that like life comes at you sometimes, and so there are people who have had to drop for, whatever reason. I mean, it's totally fine, but felt really bad about doing it and understanding the impact. And so I think it'll be good for people to not feel that there's pressure that they have to be involved for some sense of obligation towards the other people in the group, because, that's not a consideration that people should ever have to have. And that certainly has come up before. So, I think it will be good in that way where, it'll let people kind of engage more as they want to.
Yeah, the other thing that's cool with this sort of structure is when we had groups of, 5 or 6 people, as soon as you went like 0-2, you were basically out. And then that meant that those people who went 0-2 were like, oh, well, now I can't be bothered playing my remaining matches. And so then we were stuck in those awkward situations where it's like, well, this person hasn't played you, but we can't get a hold of you, and we've got to award wins and all that sort of stuff. When there's 40 people in a round robin, you can go 0-10 and then just win 20 matches after that and still end up on the top of the ladder. Like that's something that you could very easily do. So there's much more scope for you to, have a bad start or struggle with a deck and then eventually find a deck that you really like and get back on top and all those sorts of things with a larger group like this. And yeah, we do understand that there's going to be those circumstances where one person plays 5 matches and then they go, no, I can't be bothered, and drops out. And that, means that nobody else gets a chance to play that person. But we feel that with a larger pool of people, that will be less impactful than it was with the smaller groups. So we'll see how it goes. We're doing it this year, and if it doesn't work, then next year we will see what we want to do.
Yeah, but I mean, like we stated, there was a change that needed to happen, and we feel like this is the best way that we can continue what we've built, because we really do. We all love it, and it was really important to all of us that the tournament series didn't go away. But something had to give there. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this. And there was always that sense of, particularly with the smaller groups, like a little bit of disappointment, because people would be like, I finished my matches and it's the first week.
Yeah.
And now they're like, oh, what do I do? Like, they're really into it, and they're like, oh, I've got some sick new tech. And playing, league matches always feels different to playing ladder matches. Like, it's a different...
Because you play best of 3 instead of best of 1.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's that exactly. But, it's... So I think it'll be good to, like, watch things evolve and you can kind of keep that riding for effectively the whole 5 weeks, because it seems unlikely we'll be able to get through all the matches.
And
yeah,
I'll
looking at you, Royce and Pedro.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, there's a challenge there, right? Like, there's the challenge to play the most matches. So yeah, yep. And I'll be actively seeking some community feedback after the first league to see how people think it ran. So we're going to stick with that structure for this year. We're not going to change. Not going to break it up into 8 groups again. But if there's anything within that structure that went well or could have gone better, I'll be actively looking for that feedback via a Google form thing, like we do occasionally, and seeing what we can apply. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. When does this one kick off again, Cracker?
The first one is going to be the 13th of February. It'll be Monday.
A week after All Be One comes out. Yeah,
correct.
Yep, and I'll be making the event at some point in the near future, so keep an eye out for a post in the Discord. And then, go and jump in and register for that. You did mention, Cracker, that we're dropping the one-day events.
Yep.
That effectively, that is us getting our Saturdays back. Not that you ever played in one, Cracker. But
nope, because I needed my Saturdays.
Saturdays back. But yeah, we will be looking, like, if we go, oh, actually, I've got nothing on, I don't know, family's away next, in 2 weekends' time, and I'm home on my own, so I'm just going to run an event on that day, and whoever signs up can just play an event. So we're hoping to do some things like that, but that's going to depend on what suits us. So, or we are more than happy to, if you've got an event that you want to run and you've got a few people that actually want to play in something, then hit us up and we can put something in the Discord and set it up for you, and then you can run it on the day or whatever yourself. There's no issue with that. There will also be prizes for this. As we mentioned, Pat is back sponsoring us, so there will be prizes for the tournament series and, of course, prizes for the Envy. We will announce those probably about when the league kicks off, once we sort of finalise all those sorts of things. And yeah, it'll be a combination of cash and sealed products, so always free and just really good EV for anyone who wants to play in them. So should be good. I'm looking forward to seeing how this runs and just playing way more matches instead of the few that we've been playing for the last year or so.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how we always talk about the group of death, right? You know, always like, I don't want to be in the group with, you know, all these previous MB winners and things like that. It's like I can go, okay, there's all of these people that I reckon I can beat. They're the ones I'm going to see if like they're up for a game. I'm going to game this, right? And then go, I'm going to draw a line in the sand and go, I reckon there's 2/3 of the players in our team in our community I've got no chance of beating. And then I've got these few people I reckon I've got a chance against. I'm going to battle those guys first and try to get up the ladder. So,
I am declining your invite.
You're the first on the list.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah. But I know people already think about that. But yeah, I think it'd be good. Check out the announcements channel. Keep an eye on that. The event will be created in the next little while, and sign up for free as always will be available. So. Speaking of keeping an eye on the Discord, we do have a little announcement to make regarding the Discord. We're actually going to bring in some mods, so some moderators to help us with running events like this, to help with those ad hoc one-day events, just generally replying to things and keeping on top of things around our tournament series, and just helping us keep things running smoothly within our community. So we've put the word out to a couple of pillars, if you like, of the Magic Beans community. We've heard back from 3 of the 4, so we won't make an announcement on the full mod crew just yet, but do keep I won't make the announcement on the cast, but keep an eye out on the Discord for that, because we'll have some mods, and those mods will have the ability to do some extras in the Discord, including hosting events such as one-day events and things as well. So it won't just be us organising the events. If the mods feel like it, they can host an event, and they'll have a chance for you guys to jump in and play some games. So, anything to add to that one, guys?
No, I'm excited to have these people.
It's
give us
cool.
a hand.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's like an achievement, when we first started the podcast. It's like, oh, people are actually listening to us, and then we started streaming. It's like, oh, people are watching us stream, and you get all these milestones, and now it's like, hey, we've got mods in our Discord.
I know, right? Yeah,
we're big time now.
Awesome. I still remember getting a notification on my watch, right? And I'm like, oh, it's a Discord message, and I looked, and it was like Hemsy and Ty's having a conversation, and I'm like, oh, I'm not part of this conversation. Cracker's not part. Shorty's not part of this conversation. Oh, this is happening on its own. Like, people are talking. Like, yeah, it's like that. That was like a bit of a watershed moment for me. So it was pretty cool. There was the community sort of was real from that point, and it's grown and evolved, and it's my favorite part of what we do. So yeah, bringing in a couple of people that have been with us from the start, and just getting just helping us grow and help manage our community. So yeah, pumped for that. So keep an eye out for that, and there'll be a way in the Discord to contact a mod, be that one of us or one of the noobs, and it'll help. They will help us help you, which is nice.
Sounds good. All right. Well, we're going to have a bit of a look at some preview cards, so we're not going to get into them too much. We do need to do a mechanics discussion at some point, but is that going to be a stream, Cracker? Maybe.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think we can do that.
We'll see if we can work something out.
We'll see.
That can be the Monday stream next week or something. You can jump in with me, or
okay.
You can do something with Chewy. We'll work that out. But with going to the fortnightly episodes, we're probably won't be sticking to the same structure of how we've gone with sets, and we won't have as much time to be talking about previews and things like that. So, yeah, we're just going to talk about a few previews, a few cards that we've seen that we're interested in. So, Cracker, I think the card that you're the most interested in is, how do you say the name of this card?
Cliffs. Black Cleave Cliffs. So there's a running gag with this one because when we started playing Modern, I built Living End, old Jund Living End back when
proper
it was really
Living
bad.
End, yeah.
And for whatever reason, the weekend we were away in Sydney playing it, I could not say Black Cleave Cliffs for the life of me. I said it about 60 different ways, and it's just like hilarious to everybody.
None of it was right.
None of them were right. But this cycle has been completed now. Completed. So we've got these are the Allied Fastlands, and they're awesome. They are just some of the best lands Magic has ever had, and they're really, really good to have in Pioneer too. They promote aggressive decks in a really good way.
Yeah, actually, that is a good point because they weren't previously legal.
No, they were not
in Pioneer. Yeah, so that's
Modern
huge.
staples,
absolutely, and Legacy as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, right. Yep.
Different points.
So if you think about like Black Cleave Cliffs and in Pioneer, like the Rakdos deck is...
I needed help.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So
Definitely.
So I think it was playing Sulphurous Springs.
Yep.
Just because
and like Dragon Skull Summit and stuff like that, which are
so these
less
just
than ideal. Just
get
strict
those
upgrades.
things out of there. Get this in. Yeah. And I was playing like Gruul Vehicles, like having another untapped early turn dual land for my Llanowar Elves. That's exciting. I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So
big impact on Pioneer, great for Standard, affordable for Modern.
Yeah, and like some of the costs of these were creeping up, particularly like Darkslip Shores and things.
Cliffs was super expensive for quite a while, like $50 or something like that.
It was. I mean, that was when it was getting played a lot in Modern, like with Mardu Pyromancer, kind of that era. There was a lot of demand for it then. It's sort of dropped off a little bit now. But yeah, so there's Blackleaf Cliffs, Darkslick Shores, which is the blue-black, Copperline Gorge, which is red-green, Razor Verge Thicket, which no one cares about, Azab green-white, and then Seachrome Coast, which is white-blue. And they all enter the battlefield tapped unless you control two or few other lands. So if this is your third land, it enters untapped. If it's your fourth land, it enters tapped.
Yeah, very good. Glad to have those. So give us a real preview card that you're actually interested in, Gregor.
A real preview card. There's a couple of cool ones, actually. So there's one called Ovikar Enigma Goliath. It is 5 blue-red for a legendary creature Phyrexian Nightmare. It's a 6/6 with flying, ward 3, pay 3 life. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create X or 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature tokens, where X is the mana value of that spell. They gain haste until end of turn. It's like Super Pyromancer.
Wow.
I mean, it's 7. But the ward cost is huge. Ward 3 and pay 3 life is massive. So I don't know that this is like a standard playable card. Mind you, the ramp deck has been these colours, isn't it? It's been
but that's an artifact. It's an artifact based one. Like you
want to get to cityscape levelers. Yeah. I've got to tell you, I'm not surprised that the guy with the Locust God Commander deck. Hey, listen, Cracker just wants to lift the Ward 3 pay 3 life from this and put it on the Locust God, and he'll be happy. But I want to open this in sealed. I think when I see that card, that's where I want to play. I think it's a rare, like it's expensive, but absolute bomb in the limited formats, particularly sealed, which is traditionally a little slower. So watch out.
You don't play that many non-creature spells typically in limited formats, so you may not be triggering it all that often.
7 mana, 6/6.
It's still a 6/6 flyer.
Yeah.
Good luck killing it.
But the thing is, also though, Shorty, it's like the mana cost of it. So if you play a 3 mana removal spell, you get 3 things, right? So so it's not 1 per spell, which is how this mechanic's often worded. So it still works in limited in that sense. So I like it. I like it a lot. Hey. So, hypothetical cracker rules interaction
Mm.
on a thing that would never actually occur in any game of Magic. But I tap my 7 mana and I go, here's my Enigma Goliath, and you're like, sweet, Swords to Plowshares for 4, pay 3 life, and I go Force of Will, pitch a blue card. Do I get 5 goblins?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's the mana value of the spell.
Yeah.
Yep.
It doesn't say how much you paid for it.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Like, maybe this is a commander card.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a commander card.
I like it. It's big.
It's also
And
legendary too, so you can actually have it as the commander if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Speaking of legendary things, Chewy, what do you got for your card?
Yeah, so she's back. The Wandering Emperor is back, but she's bigger. She's gone up a few levels, power level, and therefore a bigger mana cost. So the Eternal Wanderer, 4 white, legendary planeswalker, 5 starting loyalty. No more than 1 creature can attack the Eternal Wanderer each combat is her static ability. +1. Exile up to 1 target artifact or creature. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of that player's next end step. 0. Create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with double strike. And neg 4. So not really an ultimate, just something you can do straight away. For each player, choose a creature that player controls. Each player sacrifices all other creatures they control chosen this way. Not chosen, sorry. Yeah, so you pick their worst creature and your best creature, and everybody sacrifices the rest. So I think this card's got game, and I think it's got a couple of applications. The Blink deck that I've been building together, Brago in Commander. Yep, absolutely. The +1 is another Blink effect, and there's some Blink type abilities in Standard. With the Spirited Companion and a whole bunch of other comes into play abilities that and this ticks straight up to 6 loyalty, which is pretty good. It's got like a pseudo protection thing with, you can bring it down. Well, it protects itself really well because you bring it down and basically Wrath for 4 and still have your Planeswalker. That's great. A 2/2 double striker protects itself. And the +1 means, you get to attack with the creature and then untap it, and it's got 6 loyalty that can only be attacked by 1 creature. So, there's Planeswalker removal spells and an edict and things like that that can deal with Planeswalkers, but I think this has got enough going on to be a player. And if it's like Wrath the board on turn 4 with like Depopulate or something, and this then play something, this comes down on 6, can take over the game really, really quickly. Like I think like maybe an Esper control deck or a blue-white control deck or something could really see this being a bit of a powerhouse. If I'm honest, I think this got some potential and awesome commander card. What do you guys think of the Eternal Wanderer?
It's a house.
Seems good.
Yeah.
I mean, it calls back really hard to Elspeth Sun's Champion to me.
Yes, absolutely. That's I wasn't sure whether that was just me looking at the mana cost, but
No.
Yeah.
It's all those things where like she spat out a bunch of tokens and she wraths the board with like, power 4 or greater, whatever it is. But yeah, this thing is huge. Really good control finisher.
Yeah, and
or just mid-range mirror breaker.
Yeah, I think that definitely, and control finisher. It actually can a 2/2 double striker every turn. Like that's a clock, right? And then it's like, oh, they getting a bit out of control. I'll blink my thing or whatever. There's just every one of those abilities. I can envision multiple situations, multiple game states where this is really good. So yeah, I think it's going to be great.
How badly do you want a +1 on a Spirited Companion?
So badly. So badly.
It's like the best thing to do, right?
No, well, do you know what the best thing to do is? There are so many prototype creatures. So you can play your, the the Flesh Gorger or the White Angel one on early in the game, and then this can come down and just all of a sudden it's the big thing again. A big thing all of a sudden, right? So like there's like some really cool synergies where it's just like, in an Esper deck with Flesh Gorger or whatever it might be, having the ability to level those things up whilst then having 6 loyalty on my Planeswalker. That's a powerful position. So yeah, it makes me sad when they just, invoke to spare me after I do that. But it's, cool little synergies like that. And the more I think about each one of these abilities, the more excited I am about it. So yeah, I think it's a really good Magic card.
Does not seem like a rare, this one. Like,
no, it's a mythic for sure.
A lot of abilities.
No, it's only a rare. It's only
a rare.
The completed Planeswalkers are all mythic.
Yeah.
The non-completed ones are all rare. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting.
This should be a mythic, right? Like it reads like it should be. The problem with this being rare is I'm going to lose to it in limited a lot. I'm not going to open it ever, but my opponents will.
Thoughts. Yeah. It's like, I get what they've done, making the completed ones mythic, but putting these ones at rare, means you're going to see them more in limited, which could potentially be troublesome, especially when you're losing against it all the time.
Just, let me open it, please.
Yep. All right. Card that I had, this is for Matty P, this card. Huge shout out to Matty P. Obviously, as we said earlier, we put in a lot of effort last year with all the different things we did, but Matty P also helped out a hell of a lot. So huge shout out to him, as well as...
I didn't know Matty P won Worlds and got to design a card.
It is not far off of that. So this is Venerated Rot Priest, which is a single green for a 1/2 Phyrexian Druid. And it has Toxic 1, which is a new ability that we've got in this Phyrexian set, which is players dealt combat damage by this creature also get a poison counter. So we'll come back to that. And then it's got another ability that is whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter.
Not when this gets targeted, whenever a creature.
Whenever a creature you control, so you target any of, well, not just you targeting any of your creatures with a spell, whenever a creature you control becomes target of a spell, whether it's a removal spell or from your opponent or a pump spell from you or anything like that, target opponent gets a poison counter. So it is target opponent, so it does things like Leyline of Sanctity, shuts that thing off, where your opponents the player gets hexproof, things like that. But still, we'll come back to the Toxic in a second. The Infect deck that Matty P is such a big fan of in Modern is all about play a small creature, and this is a 1-drop creature. It's fantastic. That's exactly what you want. And then pump them a bunch of times. So every time you cast a pump spell on this creature, your opponent's just getting poisoned straight up, and you haven't even had to attack them yet. So,
well, importantly, if you've got this sitting next to your Glistener Elf, you target the Glistener Elf with all of your giant growth effects, and this is just ticking up the poison counters before Glistener
well, it means
Elf.
you need less pump spells to get your opponent to 10. So
I was going to say that's an important thing, maybe just in case people have never come across Infect or Poison before. So poison is a thing that happens to you as a player. It previously came on Infect creatures. There's some really old creatures with poisonous. We don't come across that anymore. But you get 10 poison counters and you die.
Yep. You just straight up die.
You lose the game.
Also important to note that that's the same rule in Commander. Even though you have 40 life in Commander, it's still only 10 poison counters. So I did see something from, what's his name, Sheldon Menery? Yeah, he's the Commander Rules Committee guy. A tweet saying, at the moment we're leaving it the same, but we will monitor how Infect goes in Commander, and if we need to, we will look at changing that. So maybe something that comes, so who knows? But yeah, this is like just that rules text. Even if this creature itself didn't have the Toxic ability, that is very, very good. It's basically like halving the amount of pumping that you need.
This is a Furnace of Wrath for Infect in that sense, doubling damage.
So the Toxic 1 ability, so players dealt combat damage by this creature also get a poison counter. So a couple of things with that. One is the creature still deals combat damage to players. So if you were to pump this creature and make it a 5/6 or something like that, they still actually lose 5 life, and then they get the poison counters. Now this creature is toxic 1, and the toxic ability will always have a number associated with it. So this is a preview, I guess, of the mechanics discussion. So there are creatures that have like toxic 2 and 3 and 4 and those sorts of things. So that is what dictates how many poison counters
no matter how big this creature gets.
Yeah. So infect, the creatures with infect, like your glistener elves and those sorts of things, it's however many, whatever the creature's power is, that's how many poison counters the player gets. But they don't deal combat damage. They're just giving poison counters to the opponent. Whereas this is just a flat. Doesn't matter what size this creature is, the opponent only gets 1. But that is more than made up for by that second ability of when your creatures get targeted, they get poison counters. So
yeah. The other thing is, as opposed to infect, which when it was blocked by creatures, put -1/-1 counters on creatures. This is just strict damage to a creature. So power and toughness will, be the key thing.
I figured out a downside with this card. I've been staring at it going, like, apart from dies to shock, right? But they get a poison counter. But you can't target it with Pendlehaven in your modern infect deck because it's already a 1/2. So that's card. Write it off. No good. Can't target.
Like you said, though, you just target your Glistener Elf and do the same thing.
I know.
or your Ink Moth Nexus.
It's like I'm trying to look for a downside to this card, and I can't find a downside to it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
You're playing Infect.
Well, that's not the card's fault. That's the pilot's fault, man.
Oh, okay, right. No, fair enough. Yeah,
right. This is I guess a preview for one of the mechanics in the set, and there's going to be
quite a lot more of that.
Yeah. So make sure you use sanitizer and wear a mask. What can I say?
Yep. All right, Cracker, you've got one last card, and then that'll do us for tonight.
Yeah, so this is Mercurial Spelldancer. So it's 1 and a blue for a Phyrexian Rogue. It's a 2/1, and it says Mercurial Spelldancer can't be blocked. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Mercurial Spelldancer. Man, why do they... It's so many instances of that name. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may remove 2 oil counters from it. If you do, when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Just seems sweet. So you hit spell slinger decks, and then you cast two spells, and then you get your third one is just forked. You just get 2 of them.
Yeah, and it can't be blocked, so dealing combat damage to a player is easy.
Correct. Yeah, and historically unblockable creatures tend to be pretty good, and mono blue has all the tools to this can just be a Delver that actually gets in and deals damage, and then you can play Protect the Queen with this pretty easily, I think.
Well, there's also a card in this set. It's an instant, 1 and a blue, Experimental Augury. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand, the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. So a bit of a anticipate, but then it says proliferate.
Mm-hmm.
So you can increase the number of oil counters on this thing. And so proliferate is a returning mechanic where you proliferate. If you don't know, you can choose any number of permanents or players. Think infect with a counter on them, and you add an extra counter. So extra loyalty on planeswalkers, extra counters on creatures, extra
chapters on sagas.
So all of that stuff. So when you've got this creature, you can use the proliferate Blackcleave Cliffs mechanic to pump up the number of and just that on its own, copying that can dig really deep into your deck, but then also
look at 6 proliferate twice. 2 mana.
Or
seems good.
Just get you to a point where you can, copy your lightning strikes and burn them out. Yeah. All sorts of stuff like that. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, very cool. So, this set is actually looking pretty sweet. They've just sort of kicked off official previews this week, and I imagine they're basically going to be smashing them out over the next week because the set comes out in 2 weeks' time, I think. There was a bunch of accidental spoilers because Wizards stuffed up and accidentally put cards in packs that shouldn't have been there and different things like that. So some of the cards have been known for a little while, but we've done our best to avoid those, and we haven't had any podcasts to talk about them. So that's been fine. But the set actually looks really cool. I'm quite interested in it, and I'm quite interested to see what it does to Standard. And then, just things like adding those fast lands into Pioneer is really cool. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll probably talk about it a bit more on the next podcast, and hopefully do a mechanics stream the next week.
Yep, we'll do that.
That's the general plan. Cool. All right. Well, our usual let's do a short podcast has turned into over an hour. As
the first one back, it was never going to be short.
Yes, it is basically impossible for us to do that. So that's it for this week. We will wrap it up. So it's been a while since you've heard it, so we will give you the usual wrap up. So as we said, we are going to be kicking off the tournament series. The best place to get involved in all that sort of thing is our Discord. You will need to be in our Discord for organising your matches and those sorts of things. So come and find us there. The link for the Discord is always in the show notes. And come and join us in our leagues, have a lot of fun, play a free event, and win cash and sealed product. Because why not? That's what Magic players love. We have a merch store, so we talk about it every podcast, but not many people buy stuff. We would really like to see that improve, because not the money that we get out of it, because we get very little out of it, but just the experience of, like, when we're in Sydney, going to Sydney and walking into a room and going, oh, there's like people who aren't us wearing Magic Beans logo stuff was really cool. So go to Redbubble, check us out there. Again, link is in the show notes. And grab yourself some Beans merch. Go and check out our sponsors, Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar. As we said at the start, they have heaps of really good bargains, claim lots, win it, buy it, win it now, lots, and then the usual auctions, all that sort of stuff up on Facebook. Just go to jpmtgbazaar.com.au and that'll take you straight to the group. You can join up and then, bid on something and tell Pat that the Beans sent you when he contacts you for postage details. And go and check out our website. So our website has links for all of our socials and all the different things that we do, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, all those sorts of things. Just magicbeanscast.com, and you'll be able to find the links for everything there. If you would like to talk to me at all, you can find me on Twitter at PeaceInc. Chewy, you are?
At ChewyMTG.
And Cracker?
At JoelHill_.
Very good. So that's it. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for coming back. And we hope that you stick with us for the year, because it's going to be a lot of fun. Stay safe out there as always, and we will see you next time.